So the first exam's over, second exam to come. We're very excited, I'm sure. Let's get back on with these stupid videos. I'm very excited to be making them. It's late at night, so Professor Rosa has turned into a corporal dog thing. I mean, look at that beast in a Napoleonic jacket. Look at you looking fancy. Much better than Professor Rosa. We got Sergeant Dog. I don't know. It's late. I'm really tired. So, religion and life. This is the first of your themes, theme B. So don't forget the way to remember the themes, B, D, E, F, Big Daddy Eats Fish, okay? This is theme B. First one you're going to do, okay? If you're going to follow the traditional way of doing it, first theme you're going to do. Now, how's that theme going to start? Well, it could start with a question about the origins of the universe. Origins of the universe is obviously how the world was created. So it's questions about where the universe came from, okay? Anything about where the universe or the planet came from in particular. What can we talk about this? Well, we can talk about science versus religion. The scientific answers, evolution, Big Bang, because it can be the creation of human beings themselves, versus the religious stories, mainly of the story of Genesis, okay? The story of Genesis as in where human beings came from. Some people believe that science answers the how, while religion looks at the why. Okay, so why do we exist is more of a religious question. How we exist can be more of a scientific question. However, some religious people see religion as the only answer that they need, and some atheists would see science as the only answer they need, and maybe that life doesn't have a direct purpose given to us from a godlike figure. This is a nice, easy argument to have. Do you believe in the scientific version of creation, or do you believe in the religious version of creation, or do you fall somewhere in the middle? It's an easy question. If this was a 12 marker, I'd be really, really pleased. I'd actually be pleased with a 5 marker as well. So, first one to talk about, easy peasy, evolution versus Adam. Adam is the first man created by God, created directly by God from the soil of the earth. That is Islam, that is Christianity, that is vital. By doing this, it shows that human beings are special. Human beings are important. God gives Adam special gifts, not as in presence, but as in he is created in the image of God. What do you mean by the image of God? He is created in some way like God, in that he is able to make decisions. He has free will. He has an intelligence unlike the animals themselves. He is given power over the world, dominion that we'll look at in a second. This makes Adam incredibly special. This suggests that human beings are special. Human beings have purpose. We have a reason for being here. Evolution is the idea that the theory of Charles Darwin, that we evolved using our DNA from apes. This suggests that human beings are not special. We are just another creature on the world that happens to be more intelligent, but we were not created with some purpose necessarily. Now, Adam, I've said all this, but how would you argue it in a 12-mark question? Well, you would say, look, evolution could be argued to say that this is where human beings come from. This is an explanation that does not necessarily involve God. Adam, the story of the Bible, doesn't fit in with modern science, but if we believe the Bible is literally true, then we must accept this story and reject science. However, can you believe in both evolution and the Bible? Well, you can't believe in the story of the Bible literally and believe in evolution, but what you could believe is that the story from the Bible of Genesis isn't to be taken literally. Human beings were not created in a day, as it says in the Bible, but it was God who placed stuff like DNA in the world and chose humans of all species to evolve to be special. How come of all the species on Earth, it turns out humans evolved in such a different way to all the other creatures? Why are we that sentient creature capable of so much greater thought, it appears, than the other creatures? How come we have so much more power than the other creatures? What made our DNA so special? You could argue that was God. God chose our DNA. We are not the ape that got lucky. We were the ape chosen by God, perhaps. Then you've also got Genesis versus the Big Bang. The Genesis story of creation is that the world was created in 6 days. On the first day, God creates light. On the 6th day, God creates man. This is what it says literally in the Bible. Now, fundamentalists say only the Bible is true. Science is wrong. We are only going to take the Bible's view on this. Only the Bible can be trusted. The Big Bang Theory, on the other hand, states the universe created billions of years ago. The Bible states it's around 6,000 years ago. That is a fundamental difference. It's a theory of creation that does not need God. You do not need to believe in God to believe the Big Bang Theory. it can exist without God. The world came from nothing. It was an explosion that caused all matter to be created. And scientists are looking at how to explain the entire thing without it needing a direct creator. However, can you believe in the Bible and the Big Bang Theory? Well, of course you can. How do we do this? We believe it was God who caused the Big Bang Theory to happen. Not the Big Bang Theory, he caused the Big Bang to happen. Why did he do this? Well, he is all powerful, so he made this occur. This was his choice. But how can we believe in the Bible and that? Well, we are liberal Christians who believe the Bible is symbolic. The Bible is not meant to be a book of science for liberal Christians. It is a book of why things happen, not how it happened. It is a story to teach us about God's power. So science, yes, please, we can combine it with our belief in religion and go, yes, I will have both of these, please. I will believe that the Big Bang happened, but I will believe the cause of it, the initial trigger point, was God. Because otherwise it's very hard for scientists to explain what is at the cause of the Big Bang. Value of the earth. We're going to have to go quickly through these because otherwise it's going to be the longest video ever. The value of the earth. How much should we protect the earth? Well, we should protect it a lot according to most Christians because of stewardship. Stewardship is the responsibility to look after the planet according to God. It is a gift from God. Because it is a gift from God, we must respect it. We have a duty to protect that gift. However, why do we have that duty? Well, that's because God gave us dominion over it. Minion, M-I-N-I-O-N, okay? Minion, like the little yellow fellas from that film. They are minions because they are like the servants. If you have dominion, you are dominating the minions. You have power over them. We have power over the whole world, okay? God gave Adam power over the world and duty to look after it. And that power transcends down to us. It transfers to us eventually. We are now the powerful form. For example, Adam named the animals, and we can then use the earth and the resources. But how do these words fit together? Well, because of the power we have, with great power comes great responsibility, as Spider-Man teaches us. The most important religious source is Spider-Man, right? Now, do we have any solutions for the problem of stewardship? You would be expected to be able to talk about stopping pollution. I'd expect you to be able to talk about that. Reversing global warming by stopping like carbon footprints, using electricity rather than like fuels and stuff like that. Reducing your carbon footprint, I think would be a nice, easy thing to say. And preventing the destruction of natural habitats. Stopping the rainforest being chopped down. Oh no, we're chopping down the rainforest. We're going to lose the last habitat of the greater crested fish. I don't know. I'm not good at animal names. And therefore, we should stop doing it because we are killing God's creation. With the power of dominion comes the responsibility of stewardship. Let's think more specifically about animals and animal rights. Well, what forms animal rights takes? We can look at experimentation and the eating of animals. We'll focus on experimentation first. This is the decision to use animals to test products, okay? It makes perfect sense. A word that might come up you might not recognise, vivisection. This is experiments on live animals. Who does this? Lots of people. Medical testing happens on live animals. Cosmetic testing on makeups, shampoos, products like that happens on live animals. They test it on the live animals. These animals are put through terrible pain and then die. It is not pleasant. Medical testing. What's the religious view of medical testing? Well, medical testing can save lives. So that is good. From a religious point of view, we are happy about that. A human life, according to religion, is worth more than animals' life. So therefore, this is morally correct, okay? Humans, greater than symbol, animals. However, how far can medical testing go? How far can science go with this? Should we waste thousands of animal lives on a medical procedure that is not necessarily going to save a human life? For example, let's say we needed to kill 1,000 monkeys to try and test a new spot solution to stop acne. Would that be the right sort of medical testing? That is a thing you could argue about in a 12-mark question. That is a lovely thing to have an opinion on. Oh, well, animal lives are not, according to Christians, animal lives are not worth as much as human lives. However, atheists might argue that animal lives are equal to human lives because we're all creatures and we should be treated with the same sort of dignity. We would not die for animals, so why should they be expected to die for us? Cosmetic testing, the use of animal testing on makeups and shampoos, etc. Is it necessary? I should have used a question mark there. Oh, where's my pen? There's my pen. Right? Is it necessary? It's going to be pink, the question mark. Is it necessary? Well, some Christians would argue, no, it's not. They're actually generally against it because of the stewardship issue, the stewardship. We were told to look after the earth. How can we be looking after the earth and the animals if we're killing them just to experiment on them for cosmetics? A thing that is by its necessity not necessary. We do not need shampoo in the same sense. We have shampoos. Why can we not just use these natural products? That is a nice argument. I would love a question on animal rights to be the 12-mark question. It would be really easy. Yes, we should experiment on animals. It can save lives. Yes, we have dominion over them. We can use them. No, we shouldn't. It's pointless. Cosmetic testing is a waste of animal lives and they're not necessary. We don't need to do medical testing on animals because that is unfair. They are equal to us. From an atheist point of view, some atheists may argue that animals should not be tested upon. Easy peasy. Vegetarianism. Should we eat animals? Yes, we should eat animals. They are a gift from God. Adam is told that we can. In the Bible, we are told specifically that we can eat animals. Religious point of view, yes, you can. Every living thing that moves shall be food for you. Every living thing that moves shall be food for you. You want to eat a cow, you eat a cow. You want to eat a frog, you eat a frog. You want to eat a snail, you eat a snail. However, don't forget, every living thing that moves shall be food for you. If you want to eat a tiger, you can eat a tiger. You could argue that that means it's not moral because what about endangered species? Nice little point for a 12-mark question. The weakness of this argument is it doesn't account for species that might be endangered. Nice thing to say. However, why should we not eat animals? All creatures were created by God, and in modern society, is meat needed? That should be a question mark as well. Do you need to eat meat nowadays? You can make a point in a 12-mark question. It's unnecessary to eat meat in a modern society. Just because it's natural, just because God created it for us, doesn't mean that we need to eat this meat. We need to make a choice about whether we're doing it. In Islam, if you wanted to butt in an Islam point of view, we have the halal food laws. Animals must be respected but can be eaten. It's very clear that certain animals are not to be eaten, for example pig, because the animal is unclean, but that most animals are put there for our consumption. Sheep are put there for our consumption and are eaten during major festivals like Eid al-Adha. So if you were trying to get 2 points about eating animals and you need another one, bust in some Islam there, stuff you already know about. Easy peasy, all right? Out the way. Right. For the value of human life, we've got the most important phrase. And if you just learn one thing from this video, whoops, almost crossed it out, that's sanctity of life. Sanctity of life is the idea that all life is sacred because it is a gift from God. All life is sacred because it is a gift from God. This means that life should be protected. Life needs to be protected. Why? Well, it's a gift from God. Everything from God needs to be protected. And the most sacred gift is life. It is the most precious thing that He has given to every person. Christians and Muslims both believe in this idea. This is a massively important idea. Okay? Animals are not sacred in the same way. The sanctity of life does not apply to animals. Okay. The reason I'm introducing this term is I'm going to use it a lot in the next 2 pages I'm going to go through. Quality of life is how good your life is. Is your life free of pain? Is your life has ease of movement? Can you move around? Are you happy? Do you have a good life? This can determine whether people consider their life worth living. Quality of life is not a religious idea necessarily. It comes into more moral questions. Decisions on abortion and euthanasia are often based on your quality of life. So if you see sanctity of life, that is that all life is sacred. It's a gift from God. If you see a question about quality of life, is your life worth living? If you have a low quality of life, would you rather, unfortunately, be dead because of the pain you're in, because of the suffering you're in? Would you rather have assisted suicide? So let's go for one of these darker topics first. Abortion. Okay, abortion, for definition, is the purposeful termination of a pregnancy before its natural conclusion. Why do we use the word purposeful? Because we do not want to confuse it with a miscarriage. A miscarriage is an accidental termination of a pregnancy. We're talking about an abortion, a purposeful termination of a pregnancy. Now, they might ask you about the law for a 2-mark question. We've got to be clear on this. It must be approved by 2 doctors. It's before 24 weeks. It must affect the physical, mental or social health of the woman. What you might not get a mark for is like an idea going, oh, it's allowed in the case of rape. That is going to be true, but it's because it affects the physical and mental health of the woman, not because it says in the abortion law specifically about rape. You're going to need to say it affects the physical or mental health of the woman. That is the clearer argument. Why are some people in favour of abortion, okay? So we've got the basic ones, okay? It's a woman's body, it's her choice, okay? Woman's body, a woman's choice, okay? To protect the mother's life, okay? In cases of rape or incest or severe disability, the Church of England are kind of into these ideas. They are like, yep, rape and incest, God is all loving. He would not want you to suffer and raise a child of rape and incest if you did not feel you were capable of it. The church would say, if you could, you should try and raise that child, but God will not expect you to. Catholics are more against abortion. Catholics generally, in the case of rape or the case of disability for the child, would go, no, you must have that child. That is a test from God upon you and how loving you can be. That's a big argument, and you can say the weaknesses of it in a 12-mark question. I'd love this to be the 12-mark question. The one thing Catholics do like is the doctrine of double effect. This means it must directly save the mother's life. For example, you need to do a cancer treatment on a woman because you've discovered she has cancer where she's pregnant. You do the cancer treatment, you know it will cause an abortion, but you know it will save the mother's life. They would say that is allowable. That is allowed because of the doctrine of double effect. The doctrine of double effect. Okay, that is when it would be allowed. Doctrine of double effect, as in there are two effects to that one action. We use the example in class all the time. Someone throws a grenade into the room, I jump on it to save everyone's lives. You would not say that I'd committed suicide because my intention was to save lives, not to kill myself. The abortion's intention in this case, the abortion must be caused by the intention must be to save the mother's life, not to cause the abortion. It must be done for the right reason. Don't forget, God is omniscient. He knows why you are doing these things. Why would some people be against abortion? Well, most religious people are against abortion traditionally. So for Catholics, life begins at conception. As in the second sperm meets egg, life begins. Why is that important? Well, they believe in the sanctity of life, all life is sacred. If life begins at conception, any life taken after that point, that is murder. Okay, abortion is murder according to that. The fetus is always innocent, and so you must protect it. You must protect that fetus. As a general point of view, these are your big arguments. The sanctity of life. All life is precious, you must protect it. Now, if you did want a Muslim fact to pop in there, if you were stuck and you needed something for like a 12-mark answer and you were confused and like, oh, I just need another fact. The Muslim day of installment is 120 days, okay? I don't know why I put 120 installment, that's a really weird sentence. 120 days. That means that before 120 days, some abortions are allowed in Islam. For example, to like if the mother's health is at risk, not if her life is in danger, they say, but for her health, an abortion might be allowed before 120 days. After that time, abortion would not be allowed because the child has that soul and it would be murder. Except, as always, in the doctrine of double effect, even the traditional Muslims would believe in that if it directly saves a mother's life. Because once again, your intention is to save the mother's life. Euthanasia. Euthanasia is assisted suicide or a mercy killing. Okay, your two big terms are going to be active, where you give something to someone to cause them to die. For example, you give them a drug to kill them. Your intention is to give them that medication to kill them. You give them an overdose or something. Or you have passive euthanasia, where you take something away to allow them to die. Okay, you take something away to allow them to die, like, for example, life support machine. The law in this country says voluntary active euthanasia is illegal. If you ask someone to kill you, that is illegal. It carries a 14-year jail sentence. So my uncle is incredibly ill. This is not true, but I'm using an example. My uncle is incredibly ill. He asks me to kill him. I help him to die. I can go to prison for 14 years, even if he asks to die, because assisting with a suicide is illegal. However, what I can do is I can do passive euthanasia. Doesn't mean I can do it myself. With the doctor's permission, we can turn off his life support machine. We can take away help that is keeping him alive. What we cannot do is give him help to die. Let's argue in favour of this, okay? In favour. It is their body, so it's their choice. They have free will. They should be allowed to do with their body what they choose. If they want to die with dignity, they can die with dignity because they are dying in possibly a painful or embarrassing way where they cannot look after themselves, they cannot clean themselves. They may wish to die with dignity. That is one of the big euthanasia arguments. It can end suffering and pain. If that person is suffering, they want their pain to be ended. They do not want to be in pain. If God is omnibenevolent, he would understand that person is in pain and not want them to be in pain either. So God is omnibenevolent. He will not want pain. He will not want suffering, and he will forgive us for ending that pain. However, most religious people are against euthanasia. Why is this? Well, It is murder. God gives life, only God can take it away. Suffering is a test from God. God is testing you to see, can you put up with this suffering? Who's our example for this? Job, J-O-B, Job, I'm always going to call him, but just because to get your pronunciation right. It's a test from God. If you kill yourself, you're failing that test. God is testing you with that suffering. If you can put up with that pain and that horrible suffering while you're ill, then maybe you'll be rewarded in heaven if you believe in such a thing. What are our alternatives to euthanasia? Well, hospice care. Hospice care is a type of medical facility used for those people who are normally terminally ill, not always exclusively, but normally terminally ill, to spend their last days spending it in as much pleasure as possible, making the most of their final days. Why is this important? Because it allows them to live out their life in a way that is not interfering with God's natural law. The natural law is God takes your life because he gave it to you. It allows others to show you love and to help you to live. It is a test of your family's love, so the hospice care is there to help people show their love to you. It's a slippery slope. If you start to allow people to commit euthanasia, where does it end? Do we just allow doctors to go around killing people? Doctors swear to protect life. The Hippocratic Oath, not Hippocratic as in a hypocrite. The Hippocratic Oath is a promise all doctors make to save lives and not take lives. Therefore, euthanasia is wrong. I know I've gone through this very quickly. If you want to go through it slower, play the video at half speed. Then I'll really slow down. It will also take twice as long to go through. And this one, afterlife, I'm not going to talk about very much because you know afterlife from the last exam. Heaven is a place of peace, no pain, no suffering. Hell is a place of pain and fire. Anything from Islam on Akira. Then I got confused and wrote hell again. And I said, oh, whoops, I did this already because I put hell there. I'm not going to go over hell. But don't forget, you could talk about Asirat and the Book of Deeds and falling off the bridge. If there's a question about afterlife, I would expect all of you to get 12 marks in it. Anything extra you need, you could talk about purgatory, a waiting room to cleanse the soul of sins before being welcomed into heaven. Or limbo, a place of nothing but darkness for unbaptized babies. Okay, I don't want to go too long because obviously you got 4 of these this week because we've got Big Daddy Eats Fish. This is big out the way. So I'm going to go to sleep. Look, there's me sleeping. In fact, I'm a bit fatter than that. Got a belly. Right, I'm sleeping. What am I dreaming of? I'm dreaming of, oh, what's this? Oh, I'm dreaming of an egg with arms. And he's doing like a little dance. He's got a headband on because he's getting all sweaty. Oh, sweaty egg dancing. What a lovely dream I'm having about a dancing sweaty egg.